Hi everyone. Vibroplasty is a treatment through a vibratory transducer in the middle ear. Here we are going to look about the various vibroplasty options available using Vibrance Sound Bridge. Vibrance Sound Bridge is a device used to treat moderate to severe sensorineural hearing loss. The inventor of Vibrance Sound Bridge, Jeffrey Ball, stated that the floating mass transducer can be placed at any mobile structure of the middle ear. Vittorio Colletti proposed that vibrant sound bridge could also improve the conductive or mixed hearing loss by placing it on the round window. Hence, the versatile placement of vibrant sound bridge led open to various options in the vibroplasty. So we are going to see about few instances how the floating mass transducer can be placed in the middle ear cavity. With respect to sensorineural hearing loss, this is the original indication and technique used with vibrant sound bridge. The floating mass transducer directly stimulates the ossicular chain by placing it on the long process of incus. The middle ear cavity is approached through the facial recess and a wide tympanotomy is done in order to tighten the clip with a special type of forceps. This clip holds the floating mass transducer onto the long process of incus. This placement gives a mean functional gain close to 30 decibels. In cases of congenital oral atresia, it is a very challenging situation due to the abnormalities in the normal anatomy of external and middle ear. So based on the anatomical challenges, the middle ear is approached through different way. So there are two approaches to approach the middle ear. The first approach is to directly drill through the atretic plecoid and reach the middle ear cavity. Or a mastoidectomy will be done and through atticotomy we can reach the middle ear space. Once the middle ear space is approached, then depending on the anatomy of the middle ear, the floating mass transducer can be placed on any vibrating structure in the middle ear cavity. Moving on to the chronic otitis media, because of repeated and recurrent surgery in order to treat the infection, the ossiculoplasty can be of many variants like total ossicular reconstruction prosthesis or partial ossicular reconstruction prosthesis. Also, various materials have been used to create these prostheses. Treatment with these passive middle ear implants have only partially solved the problem related to hearing loss. In many cases, the patients with chronic otitis media will be presented with open cavities without any anatomical structures in the middle ear. Hence, two approaches can be used to implant the vibrant sound bridge in the middle ear cavity. The first approach is to obliterate the mastoid cavity. The mastoid cavity is completely drilled out and the floating mass transducer is placed on the round window or on the stapes. So these two positions can be used when all other structures are not available because of the chronic otitis media condition. This obliteration is necessary in order to avoid the extrusion of the floating mass transducer. Once the floating mass transducer is placed at the level of the round window or on the oval window, the middle ear space is covered with tiny pieces of cartilage. This will prevent the movement of the floating mass transducer and it will be held tightly onto the cochlea. The rotational muscular flap from the sternocleidomastoid muscle or the digastric muscle is used to fill the middle ear cavity. Again, this holds the floating mass transducer in position. The eustachian tube has to be blocked. Also, the abdominal fat tissue is used to cover all the mastoid cavity which was obliterated. The closing of external auditory canal is mandatory so that the graft which is placed in the middle ear cavity retains in its position. So this is the first approach in chronic otitis media. The second approach, it is called a subfacial approach. The facial nerve is used to anchor the cable of vibrant sound bridge. The facial nerve canal which runs through the posterior wall of the middle ear is used to as a option to hold the cable of vibrant sound bridge. The jugular bulb should be in its normal position for this kind of approach. The tunnel is made behind the third portion of the facial nerve. So the third portion of the facial nerve, behind the third portion of the facial nerve, a tunnel is made through which the hypotympanum is accessed. Once the hypotympanum is opened, the floating mass transducer can be placed onto the round window. Once the floating mass transducer is placed onto the round window, then this hypotympanum has to be sealed with cartilage. By sealing the hypotympanum with cartilage, we can exclude the floating mass transducer from rest of the medullary cavity. This closure or this cartilaginous portion which is going to exclude the floating mass transducer from the rest of the medullary cavity will make sure that the closure of external auditory canal and the mastoid cavity is not necessary. So use of extra muscle graft or cartilaginous skin graft is not required in this particular procedure. The temporalis fascia muscle is used to line the floor of the cavity. In case of otosclerosis, vibroplasty is done through two different surgical techniques. The first one is the normal stapedectomy and the simultaneous placement of the vibrant sound bridge or the floating mass transducer on the incus. So stapedectomy will ensure the movement of stapes, or the stapes is not disturbed but the floating mass transducer will be directly placed into the round window. If there is a necessity to do stepidotomy, then the footplate of stapes region has to be covered with fascia to recover the membrane's movement. These informations were taken from the book written by Gauri Mankekar, edited by Gauri Mankekar. The book name is Implantable Hearing Devices Other Than Cochlear Implants. Thank you.